Hi, so I'm here to talk today about my franchise Tortured. Now there's quite a stack here. This is all the DVD and Blu-rays released of the franchise that I didn't realise I was setting out to make, and is a kind of strange franchise. So it started with Tortured, and I shot this back in 2007. This was filmed, and it got finished being edited in 2008. This did not hit the shelves until 2011. It took that long to get the film distributed. And back then, it was a bit more of a strict place. I got into a bit of trouble for this film. And I had a phone call from a distributor about the dialogue, let alone the visual content, the dialogue being too extreme. I did a promo for this. I didn't think back then. I put the promo on YouTube. It was like a 4-minute, quite hard-hitting promo, and that got flagged. And I had quite a few films or videos flagged in short concession. A lot of them to do with torture trailers and stuff, and it got me a 6-month ban off YouTube. So we won't be doing that again. So when this came out, it actually almost came out within a week of this version. Now this is quite a different film. So this is the original definitive uncut version. This is the DVD that was released by Brain Damage Films Maximedia International. It was an American release. It's a cool one. It says on here it's got unreleased trailers, audio commentary with me, behind the scenes featurette. It's a long time ago since this release come out, and yeah, it's a good one. I was really pleased with this, and I'm going to come on to this one in a sec, but I will say this I Spit on Your Grave thing. Now, when I made this film, I'm a huge fan of the original I Spit on Your Grave, and that was a huge influence, but the remake hadn't even been announced or discussed, because this was shot in 07 and I wrote the script and everything in 07. By the time this come out, the remake of I Spit on Your Grave had appeared, and obviously they did a cash in. I had nothing to do with this, but they got what I was going for, and it does say it's I Spit on Your Grave meets Dawn of the Dead, and that was the Deadly Indie Blogspot.com, and I do remember that quote getting done, and that leads me on to this, because the zombie element in this is what bothered me. And now I've spoke about this before. I know I've gone over this, but basically in 2010 I re-edited Tortured and took out the zombie element and made it more about the crime exploitation side, and I did a trashy grade. I shot some new scenes to enhance the detective story, and it was a better definitive version, which was Psychopaths, which is a longer, better, probably more known version now, but it is quite different. But the problem is looking back at this film, I do regret trashing it with the grindhouse grade and not having a clean cut, because when I did this, it was the in thing to you know, exploitation and video analysis had a bit of a resurgence, and everyone was trying to make their films look like it. But like, so this was the DVD release of Psychopaths by Worldwide Multimedia. I must say this isn't as good of release though as this. This was a nicer looking package with you know, better artwork and more relevant artwork and stuff, and better extras. The whole package was better. Like, I don't know what any of this is. This is all stock images, nothing to do with me. And this caused some drama back in the day for people on my production. I didn't know about the sex with hostages. I just called it Psychopaths, and I called this Tortured and put an AK sex slave on it. So it was quite quiet for a long time regarding that. There is a sex slave version, a triple X version, which finally did find its way to physical media in the Visions of Filth Blu-ray box set of mine, which I have on a separate video discussing. However, years and years going by, I remastered the uncut version of Tortured. It was shot in HDV, so I had a 1080 image. It was HD quality, and I had all the original rushes, and I was able to bring all that in to do an edit at a later date. But what I did, I had the master, so I was able to remaster the film and get a distribution deal on Blu-ray after many years of it being quite quiet, with a slipcase and everything. It was really nice. This is the unrated edition from Dark Side releasing, and you know, this has the original 2011 commentary done, which was featured on this, but it also has the a 2021 audio commentary, a new commentary that was done for this film, making of, behind the scenes interviews, the original Grindhouse trailer. This was really cool. I was really pleased that this film found a new audience, I suppose, because such a long time had gone by. So you know, it got a nice little loving package there. Quite crazily, at the same time, which I didn't know about till it come out, it came out on a cut version, the R-rated cut. Nothing to do with me. I didn't edit a version for an R-rated, so this obviously was this was done by the distributors. This runs at 57 minutes apparently, whereas this is a 61-minute cut, so that's actually quite a lot to have 4 minutes chipped out of my film. It always had a problem. I had done a cut version myself, but that wasn't the version that I supplied, so I did a remaster of the uncut, and from the uncut remaster there was a cut version, which you find this copy floating around in stores like Amazon and Zavi and stuff, and this one actually was a direct sale because of it being uncut. So again, it went sort of quiet, and that was Tortured essentially. Now I went on and made some other exploitation feature films, and actually I went to Dark Side thinking, oh, well, they released Tortured, maybe they would be interested in releasing some of my others, but they weren't actually as interested in some of the newer films I'd done. And so I was a bit disheartened and started to look elsewhere, and this is how kind of I've had various distribution deals pop up of various copies of my films. But they did get back to me when I was trying to sort it out, saying, how about some of the films I sent them I retitle Tortured 2, Tortured 3, because Tortured had apparently done really well again. It had a resurgence, that there'd been some quite heavy physical media sales. It's always been one of the more successful popular films of mine. So a DVD and Blu-ray was released of Tortured 2 and 3. So this is a bit of a sellout and cash grab in a way. So wasn't my idea initially. I do understand the market and distribution side, and it helped get my films out there. So Tortured Part 2 and Part 3, it's a double bill, this set. The DVD and Blu-ray are both double bills. It's actually Fluid Boy and Visions of Filth. They really are just title change. So it is Tortured 2, Fluid Boy, Tortured Part 3, Visions of Filth. Now, it was great to get these films released on Blu-ray. DVD is a nice add-on, but you know, the Blu-ray was a very cool you know, that's a great thing to have. So but by relabeling these films and making them part of a unofficial franchise, I mean, they've got nothing to do with each other, these films, but you know, it got them out there and it started a kind of a Tortured franchise. And now, interestingly enough, I worked with my friend Kieran Johnson, who's a filmmaker, and he was making a film called Viral. Now, I did some acting in it, and I was the director of photography and did cinematography on the film, and I spoke to him about him getting it released, and I gave him some contacts, and he said about how they'd released my films, maybe they'd be interested in his. It's similar. Well, it amazingly worked out, and Viral was released, but what was quite interesting is it became a Tortured series presentation. I didn't know this until it came out. So there's a DVD and a Blu-ray Viral, and they tagged it on my Tortured franchise, which is interesting. I mean, I did work on this. I think Kieran did a great job. This is a bit different than the other films in this so-called franchise. This is actually a kind of slasher horror rather than an extreme or exploitation underground film. This is more of a straight-laced slasher, and it was great to work on, and yeah, it was quite interesting to see this had been tagged on to the Tortured franchise, and obviously it's great that it's got both Blu-ray and DVD, and this looks pretty good on Blu-ray, and the sound quality is pretty good as well. I had the disc on with my sound system, and yeah, it really peaked, and I really liked it. Now, I will jump to Tortured 4 because I made two awkward length films. So I made a film called The Bleed, which was about 44 minutes long, and then I made a film called Violated, which was about 40 minutes long. Now, they're a bit too long to be shorts, but they're a bit too short to be features. So I put them together as a double bill. It's not an easy sell, but I thought, do you know what? If I call it Tortured 4, because they were both horror films, both quite nasty and extreme, especially Violated, it kind of had the same tone, and it shared the same feel and atmosphere as previous Tortured entries. And thankfully, they went with it, and we have Tortured 4 on DVD and Blu-ray. So this is one film, but two films put together as a double bill. And it's an interesting one because it was never meant to be like that. So The Bleed is a newer film of mine. Violated is not. Violated was actually shot in 2011, the year that Torture and Psychopaths came out on DVD. Now, the thing is with that is I filmed it. I filmed pickups. I actually did a really nifty rough cut. Had a disaster with the edit suite. I lost the rough cut. The actual whole machine packed up on me. I had to get another machine, and I had to start again. And there was other projects going on, other jobs. I was involved DOPing other films, editing other films, making other films, and it just kind of kept getting put on the side. And then there was some issues, and as always in the world of filmmaking, lots of issues, and it became a bit of a lost film. I used some of the footage for things, but it kind of disappeared. It got shelved, it got archived, and it really bothered me. And it took me years of fighting and digging the archive footage out and trying to do it on the side, but I did manage to get Violated complete, and it was very rewarding because it also, you know, it became Tortured 4 and it come out on Blu-ray and DVD. It was a long battle, but it was really rewarding to see the final edit finally with us, because there was quite a while where I was thinking this film's never going to see the light of day, never going to be complete, and it's such a shame when a film is lost like that. So it was great to have that out. And the last thing to talk about with this franchise, and this gets a bit interesting. So I have spoke about this before. So I decided a few years ago that I'd learnt from a lot of filmmaking mistakes, and that there was a film there when I shot Tortured, not the film that I delivered, but there was a better film that I missed a trick on. And Psychopaths was my take to it. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to start a clean slate, bring all the footage in that I shot for Tortured and Psychopaths, and start right from the beginning and concentrate on the detective crime story. Definitely lose the elements of zombies and stuff. It had no place there. So what I did is I started from scratch, and it took years. It took absolutely years to do because I was doing it on the side of other projects. I had to put other things first. I really wanted to get it done. In the end, I made myself get it done, and then it played at the Horror on Sea Festival in this year, 2024, and it was great to finally get it done. It was regraded. it was rescored, it was recut, there was footage never been used or seen before, alternate takes. It's a completely different film. It's called Terrorize, and it's the ultimate edit of Tortured, but it is completely different. I mean, this isn't slight differences or some scenes added. This is a complete rework, completely different film. And I went on I went looking to get it released. This is where problems arose, because Psychopaths is in the Visions of Filth Blu-ray box set from SOS Cinema, and apparently is Terrorize according to SOS, which it's not. And I argued that, and I will argue that. I know my film, I know the footage, I know the whole process of what went into all the edits of Tortured, Psychopaths and Terrorize. And Terrorize is a very different film. It is a different film. You know, different story arcs, different footage, different scenes. It's a very different film. It tells a story completely differently. It's presented massively differently. So there was supposed to be a DVD release of Terrorize, but instead we got a new DVD release of Psychopaths. I like the artwork. This was supposed to be Terrorize, but it's not. But it's a shame. And as I say, like, the artwork is a lot better than the previous release from many years ago, from back in 2011. You know, Alpha Video did a good job there, and I was really pleased to get a release with them. It was just a shame that, you know, I sent them Terrorize and I got back Psychopaths, which is odd because I never actually sent a master of Psychopaths. So obviously SOS Cinema dealt with this and did this. So it's a shame. It's nice to have in my collection. It's nice that it, but this is an inferior version to the real version that I like, Terrorize, which finally did get a Blu-ray release. And it was a black and white film, but I also did a colour version because black and white isn't so hot these days for audiences. So this version does actually contain the black and white and colour version, so this is a real definitive release. I'm really pleased with this, and it's really cool that Darkside did kind of have this ongoing artwork to kind of bring them all together. It was a nice touch. So you know, it's nice to see this franchise all together. It's been a hell of a journey. It's been an interesting one. I definitely didn't set out to make a Tortured franchise when I first started doing it in 2007, but it is rewarding to see this collective group of films that I made available in this collection. So yeah, I thought I would kind of give an overview, because I know there's been some mystery surrounding it. I've been asked questions over the years about what gives with the different versions of Tortured, and now like these sequels, but particularly the different versions. But in a nutshell, that is the story of Tortured, aka Sex Slave, aka Psychopaths, aka Terrorize. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.